Beginning in 2015, Evergreen Memorial Cemetery began commissioning sculptures carved from trees in the cemetery that were marked for removal. To date, 3 freestanding sculptures have been created. The first tree sculpture was carved in 2015 in memoriam of the 1948 Memorial Day plane crash. It was 9:45 in the morning, and several hundred people had gathered for ceremonies at the plot of the Civil War Grand Army of the Republic. As part of the ceremonies, 2 young men flew over the ceremony at treetop level, which was against FAA regulations, to drop poppies from their World War II surplus training plane. When the pilots circled for a low pass, the plane stalled and crashed into a large tree. The plane broke into pieces and burst into flames. Debris flew into the crowd, but thankfully no one was hurt. Sadly, the occupants of the plane were not as fortunate. Chester A. Fram, the passenger on the plane, was killed. The pilot and owner of the plane, James Tooley, survived, but was seriously injured. The Bloomington Fire Department extinguished the flames from the crash and retrieved the parts of the plane still in the tree. The tree in question survived for decades following the crash, but when it came time to eventually remove the decaying trunk, the cemetery wanted to find a way to document the history associated with it. So the cemetery commissioned a tree carver to sculpt a monument to the plane from the existing trunk. In addition to the plane, carvings of poppies were incorporated into the design as an homage to the poppies that were dropped that fateful Memorial Day morning. An interpretive bronze plaque outlining the story of the incident accompanies the carving. A second tree carving was created in 2018 to share the story behind the inspiration for the character of Dorothy from L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Evergreen Memorial Cemetery is the final resting place of Dorothy Gage, Baum's niece and his inspiration for the name of the main character in the classic children's novel. Gage died of a sudden illness on November 15, 1898, at the age of 5 months. When her Aunt Maud, Baum's wife, received the news of Dorothy's death, she was devastated. She wrote to a family member that she, quote, could have taken Dorothy for her very own and loved her devotedly, end quote, as she and her husband had no daughters of their own. Following the funeral, Baum decided to immortalize his niece by naming the heroine of his book Dorothy Gale. The sculpture is located to the east toward the Constitution Trail and near Dorothy Gage's gravesite. The third and final tree carving in Evergreen Memorial Cemetery was created in 2019 to celebrate one of McLean County's most beloved historical figures, the irascible Charles Old Hoss Radbourn. Radbourn's career in the early days of baseball spanned for about 10 years, during which he played for a number of different teams, including the Providence Grays. He still holds a record for the most winning games pitched in a single season, 59 games in 1884. In 1939, Radbourn was one of the first 27 entrants voted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York. The bronze marker on the back of his monument is a replica of his Hall of Fame plaque. Many baseball historians cite Radbourn as being the greatest pitcher in the early days of baseball. The cemetery's tree carving carries on this legacy more than 140 years after his major league debut.